Oh, hello, and welcome to my video diary. I'm feeling rather embarrassed, to tell you the truth, because what I have to tell you is so extraordinary. I have a feeling that you won't believe me. Anyway, I'll get to it. Over 50 years ago, back in the 1950s, early 1950s, I used to go up to Soho with my father, and we used to go around all these little second-hand shops they had. And one in particular we liked, because it had a notice outside that said, "Anything bought or sold, no silly questions asked." That's splendid. Anyway, we went inside. And on this particular occasion, I came across a cardboard box that just said, "Odds and ends, a shilling." So I called my father over and he had looked. He said, "Well, a shilling's not much, is it?" "No." He said, "Get it." So I did. And we went home and we poured the contents of this cardboard box onto the table. And it was indeed, as described, odds and ends. There were several old 78 records, even an old Edison cylinder, you know, the wax cylinder things, and a few switches and plugs and things. But in a little envelope, which is quite plain, we took this out of it. You see? Two sides, shiny, and it looks like a DVD, doesn't it? But of course it can't be, because it's over 50 years old. And my father looked at it and he said, "Well, I suppose it's a two-sided mirror." So I said, "Yes, but then what about the hole?" He said, "Well, I've no idea." So we put it back in the box and in the shed, and there it remained for, well, forever, really. And then the years went by, and in the fullness of time my father passed away, and I inherited the house and, of course, the shed. And 2 months ago, my daughter came round and she said, "You know, Dad, you really must clear out that shed." She said, "It's a disgrace, it's full of junk." And she said, if you clear it out, you'd better put your gardening tools in there." I said, "But I don't do any gardening." She said, "No, but if you did do gardening, or you decided to take it up, you can't argue with her. I mean, she's so stubborn you would not believe." Anyway, so I said, "All right." So we cleared out the shed. And, of course, out came the cardboard box. And in the fullness of time, of course, this. And I said to her, "What's that?" And she said, "A DVD." I said, "It can't be a DVD. It's over 50 years old. Nearer 60, actually, to be frank." So she said, "Well, perhaps it's a two-sided mirror." So I said, "Yes, and what about the hole?" She said, "Well, perhaps that's for putting string through and hanging it up in the bathroom." You know, I never thought of that. That's probably what it is. So anyway, she went. And I just couldn't stop looking at the damn thing. I picked it up again, I turned it this way and that. Well, you know, it does look like a DVD, doesn't it? I mean, it can't be, but it does look like one. So, feeling an absolute fool, I put it in my computer. I mean, how ridiculous. Nevertheless, after a lot of whirrings and bumblings around, which seems to happen every time I put a DVD in my computer, up comes what I believe is called a program, and it had all sorts of funny things on it, all sorts of dire messages, like you mustn't do this and you mustn't do that, and you'll be reported to this authority or that authority, and do you agree to the terms and conditions of this? And of course nobody ever reads those things, do they? And I certainly don't. So I just clicked it, and up came a whole lot of little pictures, icons I think they're called, aren't they? And one of them said photographs. So I thought, well, you know, I've got some photographs in my collection. So I thought, well, here goes. So I went to my collection and I chose a photograph at random. I clicked, dragged and dropped, you see. I'm fairly computer illiterate, as you probably know, but I do know how to do that. So I clicked, dragged and dropped this photograph and plopped it on the program. And the photograph happened to be of a good friend of mine called Eric, who's an animal lover. He's got a house full of pets. He's got a bulldog, 4 cats, a tortoise, and a parrot called Claude. Charming bird, absolutely delightful. Doesn't say much, but he's a jolly nice chap. I do like him. I like him, yes. And anyway, I hovered the cursor over the photograph, waiting for something like red eye to pop up. Nothing happened, and I said, quite bad. And then at that moment the phone rang. And it was Mrs. Garside from up the road, and she said, "Oh, Mr. Crabtree, I wonder if you weren't popping round for a moment, because my computer's on the blink and I don't know what to do." I mean, talk about the blind leading the blind. Anyway, out of sheer politeness, I went round. And when I got there, she couldn't get up her emails, you see, it just froze or something. So I said to her, "Have you tried switching it off and switching it on again?" Which is what they say in that programme, the IT Crowd. Have you seen it? Oh, it's a wonderful show, wonderful show. It's so funny. It's got these wonderful characters played by, I think it's Chris O'Dowd is one, and that lovely chap, Richard Ayoade, if I pronounce his name right. And they've even got that lovely young man from the Mighty Boosh who lives in a back room in a sort of cupboard thing, and he's quite harmless, but nobody's supposed to know he's there. And Matt Berry is upstairs of the sea. Anyway, it's a wonderful show, and if you haven't seen it, you must. Trouble is, I think it's finished now. You could probably get a box set, and I do advise you to get one, because it's about, you won't regret it. Anyway, so this is what I said to Mrs. Garside. I said, "Have you tried switching it off and switching it on again?" So she did. And, of course, up came her programme. I had done nothing. But she was embarrassingly grateful, so with her praises ringing in my ears, I toddled off home. But on the way, I saw Eric standing outside his house, looking rather worried. And I said, "Hello, Eric, anything wrong?" He said, "Oh," he said, "poor old Claude." I said, "What? What's happened?" He said, "He's terribly ill." He said, "I don't think he's going to last." I said, "Good heavens, you're sure?" He said, "I'm waiting for the vet." He said, "Just come and have a quick look." So I went inside. And there's poor old Claude lying on the floor on his back with his claws, doing this, and making these feeble sort of squeaks and squawks. And I said, "Oh, poor chap." And so he said, "Yeah." Anyways, we went outside, and there's the vet coming down the road. And he came in and went inside the house, and Eric introduced us, and I couldn't resist it. I said to the vet, "Have you seen that wonderful cartoon where you have a parrot, sitting on a perch, talking to the vet, and the parrot says to the vet, 'Give it to me straight, Doc. It's psittacosis, isn't it?'" I do like that. But they didn't laugh. Not a titter, no. I don't know why. I was only trying to lighten the mood. Anyway, I went home, and my computer was still there, and I lifted the lid, and this is where I don't think you're going to believe me. The photograph had changed. Poor old Claude was lying on the carpet like that. You see? I thought, no, I'm hallucinating. I'm sure I am. So I removed the cursor from the photograph and moved it to one side, and I shot up the road, because he doesn't live far away, and knocked on the door, Eric's door, and Eric answered the door himself, with Claude sitting on his shoulder, right as ninepence. I said, "What's happened?" He said, "It's like a miracle." He said, "One moment Claude is lying on the floor, practically dead. The next moment he's up on my shoulder, as bright as a button." So I said, "Well, that is good news. I'm so pleased." So I went home, and I looked at the photograph, and again, I don't think you're going to believe this either, Claude is back on his perch. Really? So I thought, no, I must be imagining all this. So anyway, I picked up the phone, and I rang Eric's number, and he answered, and I said, "Eric, how is Claude?" He said, "Oh, fine, absolutely fine." I said, "Oh, good." And we chatted on quite happily. And while we're talking, I just brushed the cursor across Eric's forehead in the photograph. See, I went like that. "Ow!" I did it again. "Ow!" I did it again. "Ow!" he said. I'm very naughty. I have to admit, I did it several times after that. I was so fascinated, and I thought, no. I'm being imagined. I'm imagining all sorts of rubbish. He's got a touch of neuralgia or something. So this time, I took the cursor and I just brushed his hand, and he said, "Ow!" and crash, and the telephone receiver went down. And then I thought, goodness. And then he came up. He said, "Hello." He said, "I'm sorry, I dropped the phone." So I said, "Are you all right?" He said, "Well, I had this terrible pain in my hand." I said, "Well, don't worry." I said, "There's a lot of it about, actually. Don't worry. Don't give it another thought." I said, "Eric, I must go. Look after Claude." And I put the phone down. And I thought, oh, my God, what is this monster that I appear to have inherited? And I didn't know what to do. But I'm afraid what I did do, I conducted a series of experiments. I took a lot of photographs of people and animals and things, and I experimented for weeks and weeks and weeks. And in fact, I got it down to a fine art. I could give an ant a headache or kill an elephant. Well, of course, I didn't kill an elephant. I mean, it's an endangered species for a start. But I did try it out on several people I wasn't too happy about. And, you know, I think two politicians, a councillor and a traffic warden, I don't think that's excessive, do you? No, I don't think it is, no. But anyway, the reason I'm telling you all this is I really want your advice, because I don't know what to do. You see, I mean, should I throw it away? Should I wipe it? Should I send it to some authority? And if so, what authority? I don't know. Or should I, and I'm very tempted to do, I have to say, shall I just continue to use it? It's very satisfying, I have to say. So I might even do that. But if you have any ideas, do advise. Oh, I'm sorry. I have to go. In a minute, on my television, it's over there, one of my favourite movies is coming, a very old movie called Random Harvest. Do you remember it? Oh, no, of course you don't. You're far too young. It's a wonderful old movie. One of those old MGM movies with Ronald Colman and Greer Garson. Now, Ronald Colman plays a shell-shocked army officer in the First World War. It's a very exciting show. It's wonderful. It's very moving. It has everything. All those wonderful...